Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Amy here. Today's video is going to be all about the books I read in February, what I thought, all the good things. I had a pretty good month considering it was a shorter month. I think I read / listened to about 15 books, or maybe 14 or 15, and one Audible original with a full cast. I don't know what to call it, but we'll get into it in just a minute. So I started the month with a reread because I just had to. The audio was available, and it's one of my favorite male romances from last year, When You Come Back to Me by Emma Scott. I had to listen to the audio. I wanted to be a part of Holden and River's story once again, and I wanted to see how the narration brought their story to life, which it really did do a good job, although the narration worked for me as Holden, but not so much as River, or maybe, I don't remember if maybe it was vice versa, but I just remember thinking like, okay, I like his voice for this character, but I'm not sure about that character. But other than that, I had a great time with it. I was just super excited to be back in with Holden and River. So I've explained this book many a time, so I won't go too far into it, but this is their story. Holden has come from a little bit of a difficult past. His parents was trying to fix him, I guess you could say, sending him to these camps. Holden puts on like this front of like just this quirkiness, kind of I don't give a shit attitude, but really he's just a big softie, and he wants to be loved, but he doesn't feel like he deserves it or that he's capable of it. And then we have River, our boy next door, our star quarterback, high school prom king sort of persona. Not really sure of his sexuality quite yet, although he knows none of the girls are really doing it for him. In walks Holden, and he knows exactly who he is. So they get to know each other, become friends, to a little bit more than friends, but their relationship sort of expands over time. There's parts that they're together, there's parts that they're not together. Tears are shed. It's a beautiful story, and I loved being back there once again. 5 stars. Then I decided to pick up a thriller, one that's been on my shelf for a while. This is The Other Misses by Mary Kabuka. I actually didn't enjoy this as much as I anticipated. I'm pretty sure this book is pretty hyped up for being, you know, a good thriller, but I just wasn't into it. I gave it 2.5 stars. Although the narration was pretty good, I did listen to this and I enjoyed the narration, but I just couldn't get into the story. I found myself getting a little bored at some points in time. So we have a couple that is moving to like a small town in Maine. What's our Sadie and Will Faust. So Sadie is a physician. So her and her husband are moving to Maine because her husband's sister has passed away and left the house, her home, as well as her daughter, to her brother and his wife. So there's a little bit of, you know, some changes happening within the family because Sadie and Will do have their own kids. So yeah, so it's kind of about them sort of adjusting to this new life, and Sadie trying to form some sort of a relationship with you know, Will's sister's daughter. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but anyway, one of their neighbors turns up dead, and Sadie is a suspect for whatever reason. She does tend to have like these blackout moments. There's a reason for the blackout moments, it seems. But anyway, we're following Sadie. We're following a young girl named Mouse and another woman named Camille. So all these people, you're not sure like what the heck they have in common with Sadie and Will. Why are we getting their points of views? I mean, I did enjoy the twist. It's been done before. In fact, it's been done in another book that I will talk about later on, but I don't know how to explain it. I enjoyed it better in the other book than I did in this book. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Then I picked up the next 2 books in the Captive Prince series. So we have Princess Gambit and King's Rising by C.S. Packet. Loved, loved, loved jumping back into Damon and Laurent. I'm a little late to the party. I've been recommended this book by some of y'all so many times, or this series, and I enjoyed it immensely. I just recently ordered, because a good bit of y'all had told me their continuing story is in another little short story book called The Summer Palace or something. It's The Summer Palace, and then there's other stories, but it's like it takes place after the King's Rising. Because I remember just feeling after I finished this, like I was just like, oh, like frustrated. I want more. Like I want to find out what Laurent and Damon, like how they go about the rest of their kingdom. I don't know. You know, do they form some sort of alliance? Or their kingdom becomes one? I don't know. You know, they're both kings. So yeah, but it's hard to explain these books because really the gist of it happens in the first book, and this is just like the continuation of like the war that they're at, or the war that is going on between Damon and Laurent versus like Laurent's uncle and Damon's stepbrother. So in the first book we learn that incidences happen. So the throne belongs to Damon, but his stepbrother has him banished to Veer, where Laurent is the prince and he is to become Laurent's bed slave. So that's kind of how the events lead into the war between Laurent's uncle and Damon's stepbrother. So yeah, it was I don't know. I you know, and I'm not usually into like war type fantasy stories, but this was told in such a good way. Like it was more concentrated on Damon and Laurent rather than what was happening like around them, like the war around them. It was just more like a lot of the war was skipped over, and it was just like what went on, how did Damon and Laurent get through it, that kind of thing. But yeah, the ending just left me wanting more. So y'all have come to my aid and told me that there's like a book of little short stories, The Summer Palace. So I had ordered it and it is here. It will be happening soon. I was enjoying being in male romance mood so much, I picked up The Charm Offensive by Allison Cochran. Loved this, had such a good time with it. I did listen to this on audio. The audio is fantastic. So we have a show called Ever After. Charlie is going to be our Prince Charming, so to speak. And he's going to be dating several of the women. It's basically The Bachelor, basically, in a book. But Charlie is a little different. He has crippling anxiety, crippling OCD. He doesn't like germs. Like it was very funny reading or listening to how he went about went about the day with the ladies. And so anyway, Dev is the producer of the show, so he has to basically be Charlie's like wingman and, you know, like egg him on and like get him ready for the next scene, and this is what is expected of you, this is what you should do. So him and Dev start going on like these practice dates so Charlie can know how to act and what to do on a regular date with the women. But a little bit more starts to form between them. Charlie Charlie has never identified himself in any kind of way as far as his sexuality goes, although again, he knows he's not attracted to any of the women that he's ever met, but yet he is attracted to Deb. So their relationship starts to bloom over the course of the show, and it was just so cute, so cute. My only thing about this is 5 stars. My only thing is that I kept kind of getting aggravated with Deb because he believed in the ever after, yet he didn't believe it in himself, so he was kind of like pushing away, and I was getting really annoyed with him. But other than that, I enjoyed it. Another cutesy male romance is Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. This is actually the second book in the, I don't remember what the name of the series is, but the first book is Conventionally Yours. It's very hard to say. But anyway, yeah, this is the second book. This is Milo and Jasper's story. Milo and Jasper were best friends when they were younger. Jasper had a little bit of a crush on Milo, but didn't want to ruin their friendship and expressed that crush. Plus he figured, you know, Milo was straight, because he was always with girls and stuff. So incidents happen, and they are no longer friends. I believe it's just because, you know, like Milo becomes like a jock. He's playing soccer and basically kind of shunning Jasper away. So their friendship faded. Years later, Milo needs Jasper's help with these gaming cards. So the story is based around this game called the Odyssey, and it's basically like playing cards, and some of these cards are very expensive, and Milo here has lost his brother's cards to, like, playing the game, he's lost them to another player. So he goes to ask Jasper for help in getting the cards back because he knows Jasper is a great gamer for the game of Odyssey. I really enjoyed this one, and the rekindling of Milo and Jasper's relationship from friends to enemies to friends to lovers. I really enjoyed it. The first book, it was really cute as well, but I think I prefer this one over the first one, and I definitely think they can be read as a standalone, even though the 2 characters from the first book do make like some little cameo appearances in here, but you're not really missing anything if you don't read the first book. But yeah, just want to throw that out there in case you want to check it out. Maybe don't want to get into the series, but just by me talking about this one, you're interested in it, you know, that sort of thing. But anyway, super cute, loved it, 5 stars. Then I decided I was going to do a vlog reading books that y'all have recommended to me as far as in the category of male romances. So I did Wicked Lies Boys Tell, Head Above Water, and I chose Shiver. Wicked Lies Boys Tale, 5 stars, absolutely love it. This is by Kay Webster. I did listen to this book on audio. It's available on audio, but on Audible, but not any other platform, because I believe it's an Audible original. So yeah, so anyway, this was read by Teddy, why can I talk? Oh my goodness. Teddy Hamilton and Jacob Morgan. My 2 favorite male romance duo narrators. They did a fantastic job. So we have Penn and Cope. Cope is straight. Penn is gay. He knows he's gay, but he's not really quite out. Like, he doesn't want to make it a big deal, but yet he's not really necessarily in the closet. Cope and Penn were best friends. An incident happens, and they become enemies, or should I say Penn loses Cope as a friend due to some circumstances on Penn's part. The only thing about this book is still a 5 stars, still loved it. The only thing was I felt like their reuniting into friendship was a little fast. Like, I didn't find there was like a super good reason why they were coming back together as friends. I just found that was a little bit too quick, but you know, that's just me. I didn't like not like it because of that. I just remember thinking, oh wait, did I miss something? Why are all of a sudden they're like kind of like friends again? But anyway, it's great. Their friendship is reunited for some reason or another. Cope like wants to help Pen find someone, because he knows Pen is really attracted to him, and he himself does not think he's gay, so he wants to find someone for Pen. But when this things start to happen, Cope does not like it and becomes jealous. So he starts to explore his sexuality with Pen. And I really enjoyed that, because I love first-timers, first-time stories. So really good, super cute. There's a story in the background with their families. Both Pen and Cope's families are very well off, but they're crappy parents. One is a little bit more crappier than the other, but they're both shitty. So anyway, there's shitty circumstances that happen that go along with the story. It just kind of kept the story flowing. I really enjoyed it. I loved the happily ever after. And then I got into Head Above Water by C.E. Ricky. Love this one as well. Gave it 4 stars just because I just wasn't feeling one of the characters. I don't know what it was. So we have Cannon and Easton. They are stepbrothers. Cannon's dad married Easton's mom back when they were like 9 and 7. So Easton's a little bit younger than Cannon, but Cannon always treated him like this younger brother kind of thing. But they never really like clicked. When Easton turns a certain age, he realizes he's gay. He opens up to his mom. So it's nothing like that. Like, he knows he's gay. He's not in the closet. He's out. Even in high school, but he starts kind of like picking on Cannon and like giving him little taps that, you know, letting Cannon know that he's interested. But they're stepbrothers. Instances happen and Cannon and Easton are apart, but then they are brought back together years later without talking to each other. Easton never understood why Cannon left, so he really does have a hard time dealing with that, and he kind of blames Cannon for it. But a very traumatic incident and grief brings these stepbrothers back together, and they kind of lean on each other throughout the rest of the book, getting over this grief, helping each other to get through it. And this is when Cannon sort of opens up to his bisexuality, and which he always kind of had a feeling, because he always felt like he was attracted to some men as well as women, but he's never explored that part of himself, and now he's starting to want to maybe explore that part of his sexuality. But my thing was, I just didn't feel it with Cannon. Like, I felt like he was only doing it because he wanted Easton to be okay. You know, like, it's hard to explain. I just felt like he wasn't in the relationship. Like, Easton's all in, but yeah, I just didn't feel it with Cannon until the further along to the end I started to feel the connection a little bit more, but I did not feel that connection. I just couldn't feel it. I don't know what it was, but other than that, I really enjoyed the story. Lots of grief here, so warning there, tears will be shed. At least on my part, there were, and there is a little bit of drug abuse and alcohol abuse, I believe. Maybe it's just alcohol abuse. Just a little touch on that, but yeah, really enjoyed this story. Now, Shiver, on the other hand, I couldn't get into. This is by Brooke Blaine, and where'd he go? Ella Frank. Oh my goodness. Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine, who are a great writing duo. Love their books on their own and together. But this one, I chose to listen to the audio, which is narrated by Biff Summers, and as much as I do like Biff Summers' narration, because I've listened to him before, his voice for Wolf in this book was not doing it for me. So Wolf is a very dominant male. He owns like this sex club, and Jesse's friend kind of drags him along to this sex club one night, and this is where Wolf spots him, and Wolf sort of becomes obsessed with Jesse. He reminds him of someone from his past. I didn't get that far to know who it was. I got up to like chapter 10, and I just couldn't anymore. I don't think I was in the mood for a dom sub kind of relationship, and I was not feeling the narration on Wolf's part. I felt Jesse's voice was very well done, and it matched his personality, just not Wolf. I couldn't get into it. So I'm not DNFing it. I can't talk. I'm not DNFing it. I'm putting it off to the side, and I will physically read it with my eyeballs another time, because I do think this book has a potential, and I like the fact that it states in the synopsis that it's not a romance, that it's more of a obsession, kind of possessive type of story, and I'm really intrigued, and I would like to read it. So we're gonna do that at another time. Back into thrillers, picked up Don't Look for Me by Wendy Walker. Ashley from Biblio's podcast and I read this one. Buddy read this one, and we both gave it 4 stars. We both really enjoyed it. This was unexpected. This was not a story that I didn't see where it was going. I really didn't. So we have Molly, I believe is her name. Yeah, Molly Clark, who disappears. I'm thinking, you know, she disappeared for a reason, because there is a reason that I can see why she would want to disappear. Her husband seems to be ignoring her. Her 2 children hate her. And this is all due to incidences that have happened in the past. So she just kind of takes off. She gets in her car and drives off. Maybe just to clear her head. I don't know. But I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, so I'm not gonna say it. But anyway, we do end up following Molly, and so we know what happens to her. So we're following along with her. And we also follow her daughter Nicole's point of view. Now Nicole is having some feelings of guilt because her and her mother had some very harsh words before her mother disappeared. So Nicole is like really determined to find her. She gets a lead, and she kind of goes from there. So yeah, so that's pretty much the whole story. So we're getting like Molly and what's going on with her, which is very creepy. There's a little girl that's involved with Molly, and she's very creepy. Like the whole instance has like this creepy vibe, and I was really digging it. And then of course we follow Nicole as she goes look for her mother. So yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. This is my second Wendy Walker book that I think I gave 4 stars to the other one as well. Really liked it. Really liked like all the things that were happening at the end. By the time we got to the end, it was like it was going in every direction. So many twists and turns. I really had a good time with it. And like I said, it was just an unexpected story. Back to Male Romances, I picked up The Bromance Zone by Lauren Blakely. This is it Owen and Ryan? Shoot. River. There is a Ryan somewhere. There's a Ryan. I read about a Ryan somewhere. Yes, this is Owen and River's story. We meet these characters in the Men of Summer series with Declan and Grant. So River is partners with Grant. They own a bar, and Declan as well. And then Owen, I believe, is he's either Declan and both their PR managers, or maybe just one of them. I don't really remember. But we meet these guys in the Men of Summer series. So this is their story, and we kind of get like a little backstory of how they became friends and how they set this pact that, you know, they didn't want to lose their friendship, so they were not going to sleep with each other, because other friend relationships have ended because it turned into more than just friendship, and they don't want that for each other. They love each other's friendship more than sacrificing it for, you know, for a fun time, I guess you could say. So anyway, this takes place over Thanksgiving. So they're taking like it's like a little car ride to Friendsgiving that they've been invited to. And along the way, they have to make a stop at Grant's parents' cabin. So while they're there, they get stuck in like this snowstorm, and you know, you can take it from there what's gonna happen. So there's a little bit of back and forth between the two of them, like I want to but we can't, I want to but we can't kind of thing. And I got a little aggravated with that. I was like, just come on, just bite the bullet and do it. So yeah, I gave this like 3 or 4 stars, or 3.5 stars. It was cute, but you know, it was just back and forth banter about how they shouldn't sleep with each other, like basically the entire time, but it was cute. You also get a little short story. I did listen to this on audio. The audio is really good. And the audio does include the short story of Dr. Good in Bed, which is from one of the characters that's in this book. It's really cute. I mean, super short, to the point. It's just like a little fun short story. Okay, this is next. Like after Ashley and I were done with Don't Look for Me, Ashley jumped into Impact Winter on Audible. It's free with your Audible subscription. I've been getting like a bunch of like ads about it, and like was really intrigued. I knew it was like some sort of like vampire story. Think Walking Dead meets, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. It very much reminded me of Walking Dead, but vampires. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. It had like a full cast of characters, so it was like, I mean, like it was played out like a play, like a Broadway play of some sort, or like a movie. Everybody spoke, and there was like sound effects and, you know, all the fun things. Highly recommend it. So yeah, so like their apocalypse kind of happens, and some people are turned into vampires, and they're just like 3 different kinds of vampires, and one of them looks exactly the same as like you and I. Like, they appear to be humans, they talk like humans, they look like themselves, but yet they are vampires. And then they have like 2 other type of vampires, the ones that are just like I guess like ravenous, or, you know, feral, whatnot. They just like come after you. I think they kind of turn a little bit as well. But anyway, fascinating story. Absolutely loved it. If you're an Audible member, I highly recommend checking it out. I couldn't wait any longer, so I picked up When You Find Me by PJ Vernon. PJ Vernon wrote my absolute favorite thriller of 2021, Bathhouse. Loved it. In fact, a reread or re-listen, or well, a listen, because I didn't listen to it. I would love to listen to that story and have it come to life. Plus, it's read by Michael Crouch, and I love Michael Crouch. Anyway, back to this book. This was actually also available for free with your subscription on Audible, because I was kind of looking for something else compared to like Impact Winter. I wanted more. And as I was scrolling through, I saw this and I was like, what? Yes, play. So we have, our main character is Gray. She comes from a very well-off family. They are the Kings. Her and her husband are traveling back to her hometown for Christmas Eve. her sister's gonna be there, and anyway, long story short, they go out to this Christmas Eve party with some older friends from Gray's childhood. Gray has a alcohol problem as well as a drug problem, so there's alcohol and drug abuse in this book, as well as animal abuse. Just throwing that out there. It's not, and it's a cat. I skipped over it. When it happens, you just know it's going to happen. It's not described, but later on, when the cat is found, it is described. So just warning you there. I skipped over it, but besides that, I really enjoyed the story. I gave it 4 stars. So like I said, we have Gray, and Gray has an alcohol problem. So the night of the Christmas Eve party, she of course drinks too much. She blacks out along with having too much to drink. She doesn't remember anything that happened that night. She wakes up the next morning in her pajamas, in her bed. So she's thinking her husband brought her home, changed her, cleaned her up, whatever. But then he goes missing. He's missing. Like, he never came home from the Christmas Eve party. His car was found on the side of the road, blah, blah, blah. So we spend the majority of the time looking for clues as to where her husband has gone. He's a well-known person in like the political world. Anyway, so we follow Gray, and then we also follow Nina. We also follow another character named Annie, who we suspect knows more than, well, she does. She's someone that knows a lot about Gray and her husband. So she's like emailing Gray and calling Gray, giving all these clues as to what might have happened to Gray's husband. So then we have Nina, who is acquainted with the King's family because her grandmother was their housemaid when Gray was younger, when Gray and Nina were young. So Nina is now a detective, so she is on the case to look for Gray's husband. So it was a very good story. It definitely kept me interested. This is the one that also had like a predictable ending, or a predictable twist, and I did kind of figure it out, because there are a few more other little bitty twists in there, things that you find out about Gray's husband. It was just a very good story. It kept me interested, kept me like on my toes, until one point I was like, I got it. The narration was really good for that book as well. Then I listened to The Silent Woods. This was, it was the True Book Club pick for the month of February. I really enjoyed this story. This was unexpected as well. So we have Cooper and Finch, who are father and daughter, and they're living in this like remote cabin, like just isolated in these woods, like nothing to the outside world except for Jake, who is Cooper's friend from when they were in the military or the army, and he comes, I believe, like once a year or something like that, and brings them supplies. And that's the only connection they have to the outside world. There is a neighboring cabin. His name is Scotland. He kind of makes cameo appearances here and there. He's a little mysterious. I was like suspicious of him the entire time, but you don't know where the story is going. Like, it keeps you focused because you want to know, like, why is this father and daughter isolating themselves in this cabin? Why? You pretty much get the reason why early on, but I wanted more. But then once we got to the end, I was like, wow, this was a really good story. I wouldn't say it was a thriller. It was just a good, like, family type drama, and very realistic, I guess. You know, it could happen. I didn't particularly like the circumstances that happened, but otherwise I enjoyed the story. It was really good. It's 4 stars. And lastly, but certainly not least, I read 2 of the Game Changer books in the series. So Tough Guy is number 3. Yes, number 3 in the Game Changer series. This is the book after Heated Rivalry. After after Heated Rivalry, I just kind of stopped. I didn't continue with the series, but I decided let's continue. So I listened to Tough Guy, which I wasn't crazy about the narration for this book. It was read by Tor Tom, I think is how you say his name. It was good, but I didn't get that oomph that I like in a male romance narrator. He just kind of read kind of like blandly a little bit. But I mean, otherwise, I enjoyed the story. It definitely wasn't good as Heated Rivalry or even as good as the first book. But we have, oh, what was his name? Fabian and River. I think River is where the name comes from. No, Ryan. Ryan. Why? I get Ryan and River confused. So that Ryan Price is our hockey player, and he's kind of known for, you know, his fighting on the ice. That's basically what he's paid to do, to pick fights on the ice. And then we have Fabian, who's a musician. He's very more on the feminine side. He likes wearing elaborate makeup and like outfits and things like that. He's very out with himself, which I loved. I loved his character, and I love the fact that Ryan, that's the type of men that he likes. So yeah, so anyway, this is Ryan and Fabian's story, which they knew each other from childhood, because I believe Ryan lived with him and Fabian and his parents for some reason. His parents took in hockey players. I don't know, something like that. I enjoyed their story, not as good, you know, as the first one. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. Ryan kind of suffers, like he's kind of tired. He's tired of picking fights. Like I say, he's got this tough guy persona about him, but on the inside, he's just a big teddy bear, and he really just wants to find love. And him and Fabian sort of reunite. They end up running into each other. I believe when Fabian's playing at a bar of some sort, if I'm remembering correctly. I may not be, but anyway, their friendship sort of starts to blossom from there. Really cute little story. But Common Goal, which is book 4, was really good. I gave this one 5 stars. This is Eric and oh, why can't I remember names? Eric and Kyle. This is Eric and Kyle's story. Eric is turning 41 years old. He's a goalie for one of the NHL teams. And then Kyle is, he's going to school for his master's in like art history, and he works at one of the gay bars that the guys like to attend. So we get to see our guys from the first book, as well as from Heated Rivalry. Ilya and Shane. We get a little bit of those in the a little bit of them in the 4th book. Really enjoyed this one. So this is sort of an age gap. Kyle is 26, I believe 25 or 26, and Eric is 41. Eric is just recently divorced from his wife. But he's always kind of been attracted to men, but he's never really explored that side of his sexuality. He meets Kyle, and him and Kyle form like this friendship, and Kyle offers to teach him the ways of being with another man. Very good. I loved their story. I loved how Eric was just so sweet, like, but he couldn't give in. Like, he just felt like he was too old for Kyle, kind of thing. And I was like, no, sweetheart, you are not. Follow your heart. Oh, I loved Eric. Loved him. Kyle was adorable. I loved their story. I can't wait to continue on with this series. I'm ready for book 5. So that's it. That is everything I read and listened to in the month of February. I had a pretty good month considering it was a short month. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these books, how you feel about them. What did you read in the month of February? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll chat. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you're all doing well out there, staying safe. Hugs from me all around, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.